Welcome. Today's presentation is on leadership. Leadership, one size does not fit all. This is Dr. Alok Sawhney, a consulting psychologist from Alaj LLC, and let's get started. So the agenda is to first talk about the leadership conundrum, then the science and leadership, third, management versus leadership, fourth, the definition of leadership, fifth, the leadership development, six, leader characteristics, seven, leadership domains, and eighth, learning agility. So have you ever wondered before what leadership really is? It seems when people talk about leadership, it is a nebulous, vague idea that means something different to everyone. Have you ever tried learning more about leadership? If you go to your local bookstore or library, there are countless books on the topic. Some written by famous politicians or business leaders, each with their own viewpoint and definition of leadership. Although entertaining and a good form of social learning, is that really the way to learn how to become a better leader? What if you don't have the same opportunities, education, bank account as these famous people? Are you less of a leader? Because you may not start with these things, do you have less leadership potential? Well, how about academia? We live in a time in which information is abundant and education is plentiful. Surely, extremely studious academicians have studied the construct of leadership. There must be some agreement on what constitutes a good leader. Most people can tell a good leader from a not so good leader. Surely the academics have figured out the secret sauce to leadership. Although there's a plethora of publications on leadership in academic journals and textbooks, the facts are scattered. Moreover, academia has some wonderful leadership development nuggets of information that will make the most seasoned leader have an aha moment, although they're hard to find and hard to decipher. So, how should one think if they want to become a better leader? As a scientist, I've been trained to think logically. Whether it be biology, chemistry, physics, medicine, mathematics, and even at times psychology. From a young age, the academic emphasis has been on understanding patterns and using logic to predict outcomes. Simply, if A leads to B, B leads to C, and surely A leads to C. Unfortunately, understanding leadership does not follow the simple and sometimes complex rules of logic. Logic may help us in communicating about certain constructs in certain situations for certain people. We have a wonderful scientific-based tools for these scenarios, such as these. Most of the time, leadership is required in times of volatility, unpredictability, chaos, and ambiguity. Unfortunately, logic is not the only tool that will help a leader then. A leader needs more than just logic to help a team get to their goals. So leadership, one size does not fit all. More specifically, there are many different models of leadership. Think of mental models of leadership as tools professionals use in their daily work. Luckily, like a good handyman, we have a number of leadership models to use. Most can be effective if applied right. But first, let's make a distinction between leadership and management. The function of management is to keep the status quo. Management is administrative. It is stability. Management can be optimized. Management can be defined as a production of acceptable results within known constraints or conditions. But what if the constraints or conditions are known? Then what do you rely on? There's no formula of management that will help you there. That is where leadership comes into play. That is where leadership is vital. The second law of thermodynamics, which is also called the law of entropy, states that systems of order will move from order towards disorder. That is the same relationship between management and leadership. As close to perfect as a system a manager can engineer, there will always be some disorder. Leadership is needed to help manage the disorder. So let's define leadership. There are a few different definitions we can rely on. The first is leadership is a need to get results by building effective teams. It involves persuading people to set aside for a time their selfish pursuits and work in support of the communal interest. A leader should be evaluated by his or her ability to build and maintain a group that performs well relative to its competition. Leadership should be evaluated in terms of group performance over time. Leadership requires emergence, inspiration, and the following of others. Leadership development is really the act of helping a leader do something differently and getting their team to perform, and that the leader has to be consistent in doing it. A great leader can work from multiple frameworks of leadership when they're driving a team towards results. Leaders should be as comfortable with their preferred leadership styles as they would be switching from their right hand to their left hand or left foot to right foot. Mental models of leadership should be natural and feel comfortable. All the while, an astute leader is aware of their blind spots, specifically where they overutilize their strengths that at times can result in their weakness. Being a leader and helping other leaders are actually extremely similar. Leading and leadership development are two sides of the same coin. The process is more than just going to a workshop or attending an online seminar to develop a leader. Leadership development is hard work, especially for the leader, but also for the coach who is walking alongside the leader in their journey. Two pathways are needed to help a leader perform better. First, an objective third party must be utilized in understanding the problem, which we call assessment, and helping to solve the problem, which we call development. Ideally, this third party has a strong working knowledge of confidentiality and the gumption to stick to their guns when they have to keep information confidential. A number of different methods can be used in diagnosing whatever issue the leader, his or her team is undergoing, preferably a method that capitalizes on both qualitative and quantitative processes are utilized. Once agreement and buy-in with major stakeholders on the problem is conferred, then the development process can formally begin. Business goals should be used as metrics to measure progress during the process. Strong executive coaches know when and how to help their clients realize what they have achieved and what they still need to focus on in their journeys. In understanding leadership development, you need to understand three overlapping areas to become a better leader. Remember, the first area is personality. Easily defined as how you see yourself and what others see of you. Personality of a leader determines the performance of the team. Who we are determines how we lead. The second is our intelligence. Broadly, and in this context, intelligence is our ability to detect and solve problems. Lastly, we have to understand our emotional intelligence, which is the ability to identify and manage one's own emotion as well as others. The four domains we have to understand in leadership development is the intrapersonal, which is highly influenced by our own standards of performance. Interpersonal, how we relate and deal with others. Our business acumen, which is our technical knowledge and our ability to get things done strategically in our work. And lastly, our leadership qualities, namely how we lead a team towards a common goal. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about learning ability versus learning agility. Learning ability is our ability to learn within our domain of work. It is how well we learn our craft. It is mastery of the technical components of what we do. On the other hand, learning agility is our ability to take lessons from outside of our work and apply it to our profession. Learning agility draws on our experiences and how we can tie that back into our current work. Learning agile individuals have the right skills for dealing with volatile business environments. The more learning agile a business person is, the better leader they can become. Learning agility means flexibility, openness to information, and the ability to get and apply insight, even from a misstep. Thank you for your time. We hope you join us next time.